What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Clown Questions, the show where there are no dumb questions. I'm your host, Matt K. Maurer, and the question on my mind today is, are the Jets back? Fun little show today. We got a first-year interruption with Rico, Dowdle, Boo, top 10 Goosebump moments of the week, and my TNF pick, as always, in addition to some dumb questions. So who's down to clown?
That's a clown question, bro.
So are the Jets back? Obviously at 1-7, 1-8. It doesn't matter what their record is. Sounds like a really dumb question. And it is, because they're not back yet, but I think they'll be back soon. So I guess the answer to the question is no, they're not back, but I think the future Jets are back because of some trades they made. The NFL trade deadline was yesterday, and the Jets were the biggest sellers at the deadline. The Jets traded two of the cornerstones of their defense, and they got a lot of picks, and they actually got two players as well. The most shocking trade probably the most shocking NFL trade in quite some time was the Jets trading Sauce Gardner, lockdown cornerback Sauce Gardner, to the Indianapolis Colts. It was a blockbuster deal. The Colts, in exchange for Sauce Gardner, gave the Jets 2 first-round picks and wide receiver A.D. Mitchell. Kind of a win-win trade when you think about it, if you believe in Daniel Jones. If you're going all in on Daniel Jones, then this is a great move. If you really think Daniel Jones can lead your team to a Super Bowl, then yeah, it's worth foregoing those first 2-round picks. But if Daniel Jones goes Sam Darnold at the last 2 games of the year, turning into a pumpkin. I don't know why everyone uses that phrase, turning into a pumpkin. It's such a weird phrase to me, but if that happens, then you're without your you're without 2 first-round picks for 2 years. But yeah, hard not to like the trade for both teams. I wouldn't trade Sauce Gardner. Obviously, no one wants to give away one of the top 10 cornerbacks in the league. But the Jets are kind of like blowing it up. I don't know. Where do they go from here? Do you have another season with Justin Fields under center? Are they going to draft a quarterback in the top 5? We don't know, but they have more first-round picks from that Sauce Gardner trade. And I didn't even mention the other trade, Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams, their interior defensive lineman, nose tackle, defensive tackle, whatever you want to call him. He gets traded as well away from the New York Jets. And he goes to who else but dem Cowboys. How about dem Cowboys? The Cowboys obviously were nowhere to be found in that Monday Night Football game against the Cardinals. But here they are. Here's Jerry Jones turning some picks and Mozzie Smith into Quinnen Williams. The full trade was a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a defender in Mozzie Smith for Quinnen Williams. I like the move for the Cowboys, but as my friend Nemo, who's a Cowboys fan, kind of told me, he's like, don't you think it's a little too late? Maybe too big too late, because Quinnen Williams is a big guy. But yeah, I don't know if this makes the Cowboys defense. I mean, obviously it improves the Cowboys defense. They did make another trade, which I'll get into in a second. But yeah, Cowboys at 3-5-1 right now. It's going to be an uphill climb. And yeah, their defense has to definitely play better. Their offense has had a couple bad games as of late too. They also need to play better. But enough about the Cowboys. Let me get to my next question. What happened at the deadline? Those are honestly the 2 trades I just named off. The Jets giving away, 2 all-star Pro Bowl type defenders. That's the 2 biggest moves. But what else happened at the deadline? Very notable move made by the Seahawks. Rashid Shaheed gets traded to the Seahawks in exchange for a 4th-round pick and a 5th-round pick. New Orleans Saints, kind of another team, kind of like the Jets. I don't want to say giving up, but low-key tanking. And I think trading away one of your good players helps you tank. And if you get more draft picks, then, you're building for the future. But yeah, you got to love this move for the Seahawks. I love it for the Saints as well, because like I like Shaheed, but yeah, Saints are a long ways away from being a competitive team. So Rashid Shaheed himself isn't going to be able to not improve the team, but he's not going to be able to carry Tyler Shuck, even with Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara. Sorry, I'm not trying to get down about the Saints. I was trying to talk up the Seattle Seahawks, because with Rashid Shaheed, they now have the Legion of Zoom, not the Legion of Boom. It's now the Legion of Zoom with Shaheed, who's got 4.4 speed. Actually, that's not even right. I think Shaheed's got 4.3 speed, one of the fastest players in the league. And the Seahawks already had one of the best wide receivers in the league in Jackson Smith and Jigba. They also have a guy named Cooper Kupp, if you've heard of him. Their rookie, Torrey Horton, has been looking great. So, yeah, I've been seeing people say that's not the Legion of Zoom. The Legion of Zoom was Tyreek Hill and Demarcus Robinson and Byron Pringle. It's like, I didn't know that Chiefs, Sammy Watkins as well, I didn't know that Chiefs receiving core had been going by the name Legion of Zoom. But I think the Seahawks, who invented Legion of Boom, are really going to commandeer that Legion of Zoom moniker, especially if Sam Darnold keeps playing the way he is playing, because he played perfect against the Commanders. Tough injury from that one I'll get into. Another suspension I'll get into. I got to stop alluding to stuff and just talk about what I'm talking about. But yeah, Sam Darnold has that offense firing. I don't think he had an incompletion in the first half of that Sunday night game. And 4 touchdowns in the first half. Seahawks offense is pretty scary, especially when Darnold is firing on all cylinders. And Rashid Shaheed's not going to help that. That is going to be a difficult offense to defend. An offense that's not so difficult to defend also made a trade. The Jacksonville Jaguars traded for wide receiver Jacoby Myers. The Raiders, in exchange, are receiving a 4th and 6th round pick. Congrats to Jacoby Myers. I'm really happy for Jacoby. He gets his wish. I think it was preseason that Jacoby Myers requested a trade. It took him, half the season of playing in Vegas with Geno Smith, but yeah, they got the deal done. And yeah, Jacksonville really hurting at wide receiver. Travis Hunter's on IR, which I'll get into. There's me alluding to something else. And yeah, Brian Thomas Jr., a bit of an underwhelming season thus far for him. So Jacoby Myers definitely a guy they're going to want in the building if they're going to, stay competitive here. They just barely beat the Raiders. Kind of funny when, the Jags beat the Raiders by 2 and then by 1 point, and then they make this trade. But one thing I am worried about for the Jaguars is what their GM said. Their GM, James Gladstone, said something a little troubling. And this is a tweet I read minutes before I started recording from Adam Schefter. The verbiage goes as such. Jaguars GM James Gladstone touted new Jacksonville wide receiver Jacoby Myers' superpower to not drop passes. Why would you say that? Why? I understand if you're saying that behind closed doors, that's fine. But why say that publicly? Even behind closed doors, I talk a lot about jinxes on this show. That's a jinx to say it behind closed doors. But to say it to a reporter is even dumber. I love Jacoby Myers. I think he's a great player, but I think his superpower to not drop passes being touted by his GM almost guarantees a drop in his next game. I don't know if you can bet on that, but you probably get pretty good odds on that because Jacoby does not have a lot of drops. But yeah, after your GM says you have a superpower and you never drop passes, I don't know. I hope Jacoby didn't hear that quote, but if he did, that's just going to be in his brain and he will drop one immediately. But yeah, moving on to what else happened at the trade deadline. This was one I was alluding to. Dallas traded for another defender. This was actually the first defender they traded for before Quinnen Williams. Jerry Jones making moves. But The Bengals made the trade with the Cowboys to trade their linebacker Logan Wilson to Dallas in exchange for a 2026 7th-round pick. Gonna be honest, not really familiar with Logan Wilson's game, but yeah, this is Jerry Jones kind of trying to create a bit of a patchwork defense here. Adding Logan and Quinnen. Will that be enough to propel them to the playoffs? Who knows? But, if you can get those shootouts to where the Cowboys only need to score 28 instead of 31, shave a couple points off there, maybe the Cowboys will be back. I would love to be saying, how about them Cowboys in a positive way, because I love the Cowboys, mainly because their owner traded Micah Parsons to my team. But I've always liked them. They're an entertaining team. We got a rivalry in Green Bay. It's hard not to like them when we constantly beat them in the playoffs and otherwise, aside from, when we tied them this year. But we don't have to talk about the tie. Let me get into this last trade of this question. The Titans sent edge rusher Dramont Jones to the Ravens for a conditional 5th-round pick. Again, not really familiar with Dramont Jones's game, but this definitely is significant to me. Because the Ravens have been struggling mainly on defense this year, aside from when Lamar Jackson was hurt, where they were struggling on both sides of the ball. But yeah, this definitely signifies to me that the Ravens have far from given up on this season. I think they're 2 games, maybe 2.5 games back of the Steelers. So they are definitely still vying for not only playoff contention, but Super Bowl contention. I think my pick is still alive. My preseason pick, Ravens over Eagles. I don't think it's dead yet. People are telling me the Ravens are dead, but don't count out Mr. Lamar Jackson. It doesn't really work out well for you when you count out Lamar Jackson. Let's get to my next question. Who's in trouble? A number of people got in trouble. I wonder if I'll ever get in trouble from this show. I don't think I've said anything cancelable yet, but we'll see. We'll see where that goes. But yeah, who's in trouble? Frankie Louvu. Frankie Louvu, he was suspended 1 game after his Sunday night game. And the NFL said it was for repeated hip drop tackles. Apparently there was one in that game. Couldn't remember it. There's more memorable play from that game that was very sad to see. But Frankie Louvu did appeal this suspension, and the hearing officer, Derek Brooks, who was jointly appointed by the NFL and the NFLPA, he reduced the 1-game suspension for Frankie Louvu down to a $100,000 fine. So Louvu is eligible to play on Sunday for the Washington Commanders. Yeah, shout out Frankie. I fell in love with Frankie Louvu the minute I saw him dive over, the offensive line like 6 times in that Commanders-Eagles playoff game, where the ref finally says, okay, if you do it again, we're going to award a score. That was hilarious to me. But yeah, shout out Louvu. Not suspended. Only cost him $100,000. I don't know. I guess it depends on what your game check is. If my game check was less than $100K, just give me the suspension. I mean, the Commanders, that's, I don't want to say dumpster fire, but that is a team in distress right now for sure. A team that had been in distress, of course, was the Baltimore Ravens. They were fined the same amount of money that Frankie Louvu was fined. The NFL fined the Baltimore Ravens $100,000 for violating the league's injury report policy by incorrectly listing quarterback Lamar Jackson's practice participation status on Friday, October 24th. Basically, this was a couple days before they played the Bears. I think they won that game by 14 or 15, 2 scores, fairly comfortable win for the Ravens. And yeah, that was the funny business that was going on. And yeah, I don't know. Does that help you? That's got to help you win the game in some fashion, right? Because the Bears in their head, they're like, looks like this might be Lamar Jackson's first game back. We got to prepare for him. Instead, it's Tyler Huntley who, sorry about that, had to re-plug in my camera because it died. But yeah, anyways, yeah, you could definitely gain an upper hand there if you're the Bears, I think, because you're preparing for Lamar Jackson rather than Tyler Huntley. So I think that would change your game plan significantly. So I guess a justified $100,000 fine of the Ravens there. Another fine, well, not a fine, a suspension came as a result of Grizzlies coach Tuomas Lisalo challenging Ja Morant's leadership and effort in a post-game exchange after a loss to the Lakers on Friday night, to which Morant responded in a tone seemed inappropriate, sources said. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have made this the first interruption so you'd have some context as to what Ja Morant's comments were. But I don't know. Essentially, I think Morant had a bad game, and the reporter asked him about a certain play or, why the game didn't go how they wanted it to. And Ja just kept saying, ask the coach. So kind of just, I don't know, just shifting blame according to the Grizzlies. I believe the Grizzlies are the one who suspended Ja. Ja's always in the news, and it's not always for his awesome dunks. But yeah, hopefully hopefully he has a licensed firearm now, not the pink Nerf gun he got caught with on the IG live. But let's move on. Last person who's in trouble is the entire Dolphins organization. Their GM, Chris Grier, and the Dolphins, they mutually agreed to part ways. I always find that part interesting. It's like, was it a mutual agreement, or did he get fired, or did he resign? In this case, it actually might be a mutual agreement because the Dolphins are like, we're thinking about firing you. And Chris Grier is like, no need. I'll leave. Maybe the Dolphins are that dysfunctional that, even as a GM, you don't really want to be involved. Champ Kelly's the interim GM. I'll be honest, I hadn't even heard of Chris Grier until he got mutually agreed to part ways. Don't know. I feel like I've heard of Champ Kelly. Was he a player? Let me Google Champ Kelly. But, oh yeah, he used to be a football player. Okay, cool. Well, he's the interim GM, and yeah, I have nothing more to add because I don't know nothing about it. But yeah, it seems like maybe a sign of the times, to quote Harry Styles. Maybe the beginning of the end for the Miami Dolphins. First, the GM goes. Who goes next? Probably Coach Mike McDaniel, and I'm a huge fan of Tua Tagovailoa, so I hope he's not gone after that, but he could be next on the chopping block after McDaniel. But I don't know. You signed Tua to a $200 million contract. You kind of gotta stick with them. This is what the quarterback market does. Quarterbacks get paid more than any other player. If you miss on a quarterback who you're paying a lot of money, it puts you in a pretty tough position financially. Just ask the Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson. To transition, let's ask a question many people were asking Deshaun Watson. Why? I'm so sorry. That's a messed up joke. But why that's an actual question. Is this my first one-word question on the show? It might be, but why? I didn't even deliver the question right. The real question is why? Why? Like, why me? Why us? Why these guys? So many guys got injured. And yeah, unfortunately, I have 4 different bullet points here of guys who had serious injuries. Kyler Murray at the top of the list. He was placed on IR, but it was weird. People are now using the JJ McCarthy lingo with Kyler Murray, the soft benching, as it were. And you kind of can. You can use that lingo now because Jonathan Gannon said in a press conference, he's like, yeah, even if Kyler was healthy, I think we're going to start Jacoby Brissett. So was this a soft IR-ing? Was this a soft injured reserving? Maybe, get him healthy, and also he'll get a chance to learn behind Jacoby Brissett. I don't know what's going on with the Cardinals. But yeah, they've played well with Jacoby Brissett, so you can't fault Gannon for that decision. Gannon, another guy who's going to be on the hot seat soon if the Cardinals don't, turn it around. But yeah, they look great against the Cowboys. But yeah, unfortunate for Kyler Murray. Heal up soon. Another guy who's out is CJ Stroud. He has a concussion. He will be out this week. Hoping for a speedy recovery there. And still hoping for a speedy recovery here. But I heard reports that he could return this season. And to me, it's like, no. Just let him sit out the rest of the season. Just because of how bad it looked. Jaden Daniels, I don't know who was watching Sunday Night Football, but no need to look it up. You don't want to see what happened. Essentially, Jaden Daniels' elbow, his arm bent in a way it's not supposed to bend. The diagnosis was a dislocated elbow, which apparently that's better than a knee injury. That's what I've heard. But yeah, even if Daniels can return the season, I don't think he will. I think the Commanders will keep Mariota in there. Sorry I think I'm burping in the microphone, low-key. My fault. But yeah, I think it'll be Mariota for the remainder of the year, even if Daniels comes back healthy. Unless by some miracle the Commanders rip off, 7 wins in a row and they get to the playoffs. Then they're like, okay, maybe, yeah, Jaden, how's your elbow feeling? You want to get in here? But yeah, I don't know. That wasn't the weird elbow picture, the famous Jaden Daniels elbow. It was the other elbow. So I guess the weird looking elbow is still good. It wasn't the throwing arm. That's the good thing. But yeah, not good for the Commanders here. Washington, that is not the only injury they're dealing with. Luke McCaffrey also broke his collarbone, and they were already hurting at the wide receiver position with Terry McLaurin's injury. Really tough injury for Luke, who could also be out for the season. And a guy who is definitely out for the season is Marshawn Lattimore. He tore his ACL, so just bad vibes in Washington this year. Kind of back to the Jets and the Saints at this point. It's like best thing you can do is hope for a higher draft pick. So I don't know where Commanders fans are at, but they might be at the point in the season where they're like, maybe we should lose. Maybe we shouldn't win because we probably won't do much this season. Who won't do anything else this season is Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft, our sweet prince, the Packers, the prince of the Packers. Yeah, one of our best players, if not our best player on offense this year, have been on a tear. I wasn't even trying to make a pun because I didn't get into what happened to Tucker Kraft yet. He tore his ACL. Really unfortunate news for the Green Bay Packers. A lot of big Tucker Kraft fans out there and big Packers fans who are pretty broken up about this. But I will say I do have a lot of confidence in Luke Musgrave. He was drafted, I believe, the same round or a round or, two. He was drafted right around the time Tucker Kraft was drafted. So obviously the Packers have a lot of confidence in him. You could argue he stretches the field a little more, maybe a little faster than Kraft. Not as good of a blocker, which could be an issue. But I don't know. I think Musgrave could open up the offense with some more, downfield plays to the tight end. Not that, all season we've been going downfield to Tucker Kraft. But you'd have to go to Theo Nash or whoever that guy is on TikTok that breaks down film and actually knows ball, unlike an idiot like myself. Last Y is Travis Hunter. I alluded to that earlier. He was placed on IR with a knee injury, and yeah, that led to the Jacoby Myers trade, I believe. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully Travis Hunter gets back soon. Hopefully plays this season because I think Jags, they got an outside chance at maybe a wild card. I was gonna say winning the division, but the Indianapolis Colts are like 7-2, so I don't see him catching them. But yeah, definitely could see them catching a playoff spot. Last question of the day for y'all is Howie Roseman the GOAT? I think I have to answer yes. Gutekunst. Gutekunst is the GOAT because he got Micah Parsons, but no, Howie Roseman year after year, he just makes savvy moves. I do believe he is the best general manager in the National Football League. He made 2 trades last week, and he didn't wait until the last minute. He wasn't procrastinating like Jerry Jones and these other GMs, wait until right up until the deadline to do it. He made them last week, and they were big ones, big trades. One of them was Dolphins edge rusher Jalen Phillips. They traded a 3rd-round pick to get another edge rusher in the building. Love the move. I mean, Jalen Phillips, really fun player to watch, really versatile, can play multiple positions. And yeah, if the Eagles defense wasn't good before, in addition to Jalen Phillips, they got my old boy, my boy Jair Alexander, Ja Island. I love Jair Alexander. Wish he was still on the Packers, but he's not. And he was on the Ravens, but now he's on the Eagles. I wonder how much mumbo jumbo y'all had to cringe through today. But yeah, the Ravens sent Jair Alexander and a 7th-round pick to the Eagles in exchange for a 6th-round pick. Not really sure what was going on with Jair and the Ravens because he was listed as a healthy scratch one of the games. And I don't think we're ever going to find out what happened because Howie Roseman, the GOAT, traded for him. And yeah, Eagles are scary. Making my Super Bowl pick look pretty good. Did I say the Ravens or the Eagles? The Eagles are scary. The Ravens are trying to be scary. They got to get to 500, and then maybe they'll start scaring some people. But yeah, someone who I should have been scared of, said I wasn't. My brother asked me all before the Packers game. He's like, "Are you scared of Rico? Are you scared of Rico? Are you scared of Rico Dowdle?" I'm like, "No, I'm not scared of Rico Dowdle. The Packers got this one in the bag. We did not, and we could not stop Rico Dowdle." And yeah, congratulations to the Carolina Panthers for beating my Packers. Yeah, bad loss for the Packers. Just couldn't get it going on offense, and yeah, we couldn't stop Rico Dowdle, who's having an awesome year, and he also had an awesome celebration. So I hate to do the first year interruption with the guy who just beat my own team, but it was such an awesome celebration. And what happened was, if you're not familiar with Key and Peele's Hingle McCringleberry, it's an old skit where a player named Hingle McCringleberry, after he scores a touchdown, does one of these, one of those, one of these, 3 pumps basically. And on the 3rd pump, every time the referee throws a flag because you're limited to only 2 pumps. Well, Rico Dowdle scored a touchdown against the Packers and he did 2 pumps, but he still got flagged. So yeah, here's a little 10-second post-game interview with Rico Dowdle talking about, not maybe being aware about the pumps rule or not the NFL not having this rule in place like they should.
Celebration, you're supposed to get 2 pumps, right?
Yeah, that's from my understanding. From my understanding and everything I've learned, we go over stuff like this every week in the meeting room. I definitely think you're supposed to get 2 pumps. Hopefully, I don't get a fine.
Yeah, I'm pissed at him. He kicked my team's ass, but Rico's right. You're supposed to get 3 pumps. He only had 2, and they threw the flag anyways. Apparently, I think the NFL came out and say no, it's 0 pumps. Bullshit. That's bullshit. We've all seen Hingle McCringleberry do it before and not get fined, not get flagged until the 3rd pump. So yeah, that was unjust in my opinion. Rico should have been fine with those 2 pumps. Although some people pointed this out in TikTok comments. Yes, TikTok comments showed me that maybe it was because Rico's teammates were also doing the pump. So if he had one other teammate doing 2 pumps, that's 4 pumps. That's even more than the limit of 3. So maybe the ref was counting cumulative pumps. But yeah, I think you should only be counting the pumps of the player who scored the touchdown, the player who's initiating the celebration. And yeah, Roger Goodell, you haven't done much good in your life, but if you want to do some good, change the rule back to 3 pumps. You should get 2. The 3rd pump is where the flag comes out. I believe, I don't know, there was like that part of that skit is like a micro pump where you barely move. I think Rodgers did that after a touchdown years ago, and he got flagged. It's like that was half a pump. So yeah, Roger Goodell, do the right thing, change the rule. You should get 2 pumps. Yeah, tough loss for the Packers, but I hated to put it in there, but I have nothing but respect for Rico Dowdle after that 2 pump celebration, and yeah, I need justice for him because that was 2 pumps. Oh, well, this isn't going to cheer me up. The top 10 Goosebump moments of the week. A lot of these are teams I do not like doing very well. So let's start it off. Top 10 Goosebump moments of the week. At number 10, we have Ahmad Moses catching a crucial interception as SMU upsets Miami in OT.
Who's the go-to? Who's second from the bottom? Keelan Marion lined up, singled up to the top.
Beck's gonna pass. Pumps, delivers, picked off at the 2 by Moses.
Number 9, Devon Hamilton swats down Geno Smith's 2-point attempt to win it in OT for the Jags.
For the Geno Smith for the win, knocked away. And the Jags defense, Devon Hamilton swats it away to secure a 1-point win on the road.
Number 8, Giannis Antetokounmpo hits a nasty fadeaway at the horn to beat the Pacers.
1, fades, shoots, and hits at the
You
buzzer.
gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Just a heck of a play by a great player.
Number 7, Kawhi Leonard wins a crucial NBA Cup game at the buzzer.
Kawhi for the win. Touchdown! Clippers win!
Number 6, Colston Loveland rumbles 58 yards for the game-winning touchdown for the Bears.
Williams slings it. Williams, Loveland bangs off his man. He's gonna score. Home. Colston Loveland in a jaw-dropper.
Number 5, Will Smith with the game-winning home run in Game 7 of the World Series.
Smith hits a high fly ball to deep left field. It's got a chance. It is gone. It's Will Smith in Game 7.
How's that only number 5?
And in the 11th inning of Game 7, the Dodgers lead for the first time.
Number 4, Miguel Rojas hits the Game 7 tying homer in the 9th.
Drilled to left field and deep and gone! No way! Miguel Rojas! It's gone! And Game 7 is tied!
Number 3, Andy Pajes bowls over his own teammate on an incredible catch to send Game 7 to extras.
Pajes over his head! Pajes runs him over! Makes the catch! Sends Game 7 to the 10th!
Oh my gosh, we're going to extra innings. A Yamamoto miracle in the 9th.
Number 2, Kike Hernandez with an incredible walk-off double play to force Game 7.
Menez floats one left field. Hernandez makes the catch. Back to second. Game 7 tomorrow night. It's a game-ending double play. Kike Hernandez to Miguel Rojas.
Number 1 moment of the week, Mookie Betts steps on the bag and completes the double play to win the World Series.
Bounces one up the middle. Betts to the bag. Over to first to beat the champ. You gotta knock him out. The Dodgers stand tall and win back-to-back titles.
Impossible what the Los Angeles Dodgers did last week. I'm still flummoxed. I'm still shocked at what occurred in that series. The fact, I mean, tell me if you disagree with me, but the fact that the game-winning home run in Game 7 was number 5 moment of the week is just absurd. And the 4 above it were all Dodgers home runs. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think Miguel Rojas, the Game 7 tying homer, is even bigger because Miguel Rojas was not expected to hit a home run. He hadn't hit one since September. I think he hadn't hit a home run off a right-hander all year, and he does it there. You hear the announcer's reaction. No way. Like, the announcer couldn't believe that it was Miguel Rojas. Like, any other player on the Dodgers, like, wouldn't have been shocking, but Miguel Rojas does it. Andy Pages, that catch, I mean, incredible. I had been an Andy Pages hater. Don't ask me why. Maybe it's because he hits a lot of home runs but doesn't get base hits, and I didn't like him because I thought he was a bad outfielder. And then he goes and makes that play. He hit-sticked his own teammate. The presence of mind to know that tackling your teammate right here is the smartest thing to do. Game 7 was so crazy that it made me gain respect for Andy Pages. I mean, incredible play there. Kike Hernandez might have made the catch, but Andy Pages said, we're 1 out away. We're 1 run away from losing this game. If you don't catch this, we lose. I'm not taking a chance on maybe you making this catch. I'm grabbing it, and he did. And the Kike with the double play to force Game 7. Mookie Betts with the... what a call by Joe Davis. Again, I'm pissed. I'm salty. I'm a Brewers fan. I was rooting for the Blue Jays. Hate watching the Dodgers. My low-key boycott ended pretty quick because this was one of the greatest World Series of all time. Just so entertaining. But that call from Joe Davis, if you want to beat the champ, you got to knock him out. And the Blue Jays had 6, maybe 7 or 8 different chances to knock out the champs, and they didn't, and the Dodgers persevered, and just incredible defense, just saving them, and timely home runs from unsung heroes like Miguel Rojas. Will Smith's not as unsung, but he's unsung for me because I only put him at number 5, and that's the World Series winning home run. Oh, boy. But, shout out Giannis Antetokounmpo. Quick side note on that nasty fadeaway. It reminded me of Kobe Bryant. But I liked that one because I think for that one I had the Pacers copy, the Pacers broadcast, and yeah, they were pretty pissed off. They tried to hide it, but yeah, everyone could tell they hate the Bucks. One of the best rivalries in the NFL. Why am I putting my headphones back on? I don't need them because I'm about to finish out the show with my TNF pick, Thursday Night Football on Prime Video. We got Raiders at the Broncos. Broncos are 9.5-point favorites. Yeesh, gross. This game's probably going to suck. But that's what Thursday Night Football used to be all about. We've gotten better games in recent years, but people forget the games used to be so terrible that they had to invent Color Rush just to get us to watch. They had to invent new uniforms. They're like, see these bright, sparkly uniforms? You'll watch now. And I think it worked. We all watched. But yeah, obviously we're getting a little bit more of competitive games in years past. Back, who could forget the Color Rush, Blake Bortles versus Marcus Mariota duel? That was unforgettable. But yeah, this one probably won't be very watchable. I'm going to watch it anyways, and surprise, surprise, I'm going to pick the Raiders. Not to win, obviously, but I do like them plus 9.5. The Broncos, they like to play with their food a little bit. Some are even calling Bo Nix Tebow 2.0 because of his flair for the dramatic. Sometimes he won't have it for 3 quarters. He'll come out in the 4th quarter and start dealing. So, while in all likelihood, this game will stink, and my pick won't even get close to covering, who knows? Maybe Ashton Genty and Max Crosby, maybe they shock the world here. But let's be real. If you weren't already one, I'm pretty sure this game will make you a believer.